Hello, this is Jamie Mitchell, and we are back with another episode of Libertarian Censored podcast, going over all the posts on Libertarian Censored subreddit. So let's get right into it. So first we have death penalty for abortion patients added to Texas GOP 2024 plans from HuffPost.com by Ninja Lover. And I said, the Huffington Post, another DNC propaganda outlet. You generally seem like one of the more reasonable people here, Ninja. Stop falling for whatever is on the front page of r/politics. And I also added, the GOP is full of loudmouths that don't care about optics, but they almost never seem to follow through with BS like this. It only really serves to legitimize outlets like HuffPo here and the rest of their corporate media friends. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have, once nicknamed Murderapolis, the city that became the center of the defund the police movement is grappling with heightened violent crime from CNN by Ninja Lover. And my thoughts on that are, I think a lot of people, I think defund the police is kind of a luxury belief because, it's, I don't need the police. But, a lot of poorer communities that are very crime-ridden probably do need some sort of police. I personally don't really care for the whole idea of a state-enforced law enforcement. But, I personally would rather have, maybe local militia enforce the laws instead of police. And that's because the local militia won't have state-enforced backing, and that's what I would prefer. But ultimately, some people do want police, and that's important to remember as well. Ultimately, I think, if you want your tax dollars going to a police force, I think you should be able to spend them as such. But with that being said, there are other ways to enforce the law as well. Maybe you can enforce, if you want to enforce the law, I think you should be able to. And yeah, that's my thoughts there, ultimately enforce whatever laws you want, as long as you're not, going out of your way to, hurt people, and, let everyone do what they want as long as you're not hurting anyone else. Then we have national debt will exceed $50 trillion by 2034, budget watchdog estimates from WashingtonPost.com by Ninja Lover, and they added, it's not just sauce, it's also concerned about the debt. And I said, eventually the U.S. is going to be completely screwed by this, and by this I mean the national debt, especially since it hasn't been debt-free since the Jackson/Van Buren days, and now it's back in like the 1830s, so it definitely isn't. Looks like we're gonna have to deal with our debt at some point. So I don't know how we're gonna do it. I personally think just get rid of centralized government at this point, so you can't have a centralized debt anymore. But that's just my thought on that issue. Then we have encryption is deeply threatening to power. Meredith Whitaker of messaging app Signal from TheGuardian.com by Ninja Lover, and they added the Signal Foundation created in 2017 with $50 million in funding from WhatsApp co-founder Brian Acton exists to protect free expression and enable secure global communication for open source privacy technology. And I think that's good. I'm personally part of my Libertarian Party state Signal group, so yeah, I do think Signal is a good thing. I do hear there might be I did hear recently that there might be some one of the people involved might have sold out to the feds, but I guess time will tell how that plays out. Then we have DOJ unseals criminal HIPAA charges against surgeon who exposed transgender care at Texas Children's from HIPAAjournal.com by Ragnar OKXG, and I said, Reddit, protect whistleblowers, but only the ones we agree with. That's just me inferring Reddit's position there. That's probably is what it is. Reddit's all about, we gotta protect the whistleblowers. Well, this guy whistleblows on an issue that they'd rather have been kept under the rug, so that's why they don't like him, and that's my fault on that issue. Then we have ranked choice voting RCV from CH for Locks, and that's a crossword from the Matt Porn subreddit. And it looks like it's state, federal level legal in Missouri, Maine, Alaska, and Hawaii, and then local municipalities only in a few other states. And state ban on RCV on ranked choice in Idaho, Montana, South Dakota, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida. And I personally like ranked choice voting, but I don't think that's going to solve all our issues at this point. I think what's going to solve our issues is we need to start regarding the government as, kind of, illegitimate, and let everyone govern themselves. That's what I think is really need to solve the issues at this point, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have MAGA pushes new conspiracy to prep for Trump losing the Biden debate. Predictable Jimmy GOP conspiracy theories from NewRepublic.com by CH for Locks. And I said, if it was as easy to live rent-free inside people's heads as it is when it comes to the denizens of this subreddit, I'd be looking at furniture for the Oval Office already. So that's my thoughts on that issue. I definitely do think they're probably going to dope Biden and Trump up for that debate, since, they're definitely probably need some drugs at this point to keep them going. But yeah, they definitely do. I definitely do kind of live rent free in their heads, since they did reference me in the post title. That's my thoughts there. Then we have anti-woke water becomes a hit for conservatives who brag about the unapologetic drink. Boogeymen are profitable from Yahoo.com by CH for Locks, and that's crosswords from the News of the Stupid subreddit. And I said, Democrats don't grift at all. Then I link to AOC, the official AOC store, where for tax threat sweatshirt at $58. And yeah, so I definitely do believe the Republicans might be a little more into grifting at the current moment, but they definitely both grift. As SpongeBob once said, someone wants to sell me something, and that's very much the state of politics, I would say. Then we have OSHA proposed emergency response standard, burdens and regulations overwhelming volunteers from nvfc.org by CH for Locks, and they said 65% of the fire service in the U.S. are volunteer. These new OSHA regulations may require nearly all of them to cease operations from inability to accommodate over burdens and regulations to already shorthand organizations. Public comment period is open until July 22nd. And I'd agree with that. We don't need all these regulations, especially, if we don't have enough firefighters, and, buildings might burn down when they could have been saved otherwise, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have LPNH calls for the deportation of anyone who celebrates Juneteenth from the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire on Twitter from LegioX, and that was that was the Libertarian, and that's the Fakertarians quote tweeting the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. Totally not racist. Libertarian Party of New Hampshire going to poor people for starting a holiday about slaves being freed. And I personally think that's just kind of them edge posting, but yeah, it's definitely not a good look for the Libertarian Party. But that's just how the Libertarian Party is not going to be seen positively, I think, regardless. Libertarian's naturally a right quoted word for a lot of people, so yeah, I personally don't care for the edge wording, but I do think everyone should have free speech, and that includes to say stuff that might be unpopular or people might disagree with it, and that's my fault in that issue. I'm personally against deportation, but if people do want to have justified using government force to deport people, I think that's not libertarian in my opinion, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Russia's Putin and North Korea's Kim sign mutual defense pact from Reuters, and that's from Swampanky Dan. And I think that's if countries want to form defense pacts or assistance pacts or intergovernmental organizations, I think they should be able to. But that being said, it's important to stand up to authoritarian governments when it comes to their use of these collective organizations and collective treaties. Then we have Surgeon General Wine calling for a warning label on social media platforms from Lemon Limelight, and they said an opinion piece on the Surgeon General from our Surgeon General published in the New York Times using a crisis-like tone and a cliched think of the children appeal, more justified paternalistic and patronizing solution. And the argument was, and then they quote the article: "Mental health crisis among young people is an emergency, and social media has emerged as an important contributor. It's time to require a Surgeon General's warning label on social media platforms stating that social media is associated with significant mental health harms for adolescents. A Surgeon General's warnings label could regularly remind parents and adolescents that social media has not been proved safe. One of the worst things for parenting is to know your children are in danger yet be unable to do anything about it. This is how parents tell me they feel when it comes to social media, helpless and alone in the face of toxic content and hidden harms. There is no seatbelt for parents to click, no helmet slap in place, no assurance that trusted experts have investigated and assured that these platforms are safe for our kids. These are just parents and their children trying to figure it out on their own, pitted against some of the best product engineers and most well-resourced companies in the world. It doesn't have to be this way. Faced with high levels of car accident-related deaths in the late 20th century, lawmakers successfully managed seatbelts, airbags, crash testing, and a host of other measures that ultimately made cars safer. Why is it that we have failed to respond to the harms of social media when they are no less urgent or widespread than those to post by unsafe cars, places or food, planes or food? These harms are not a failure of willpower parenting. They are the consequences of unrelenting powerful technology. While adequate safety measures, transparency, or accountability, the moral test of any society is how we'll protect the children. We have the expertise, resources, and tools to make social media safe for our kids. Now it's time someone that will act. Our children's well-being is at stake. And then they added, "Are you persuaded by a certain general's argument for social media warning labels?" My thoughts are, this is just a cry for more censorship. I do think we should protect the children, but that should be the job of the parent, not the state. And that's important to remember. When you justify censorship like this, then you have the government justify stuff like banning TikTok and banning any website it feels like banning, and that's not good. That's how you end up with the great Chinese firewall, I think, and I don't think that's very libertarian. The libertarian position is for the free and open internet, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have enhanced games, Olympic events without drug testing from JRE clips on YouTube, and I posted that, and I said, I do think the enhanced games, they go into how they are going to do health testing for the event around the 9-minute mark to make sure that participants are within healthy parameters. Other than that, doping is fine. And I think, they should be able to do that there as a private organization. I think if people want to do, I personally think, I wouldn't even test if the athletes were healthy or not. If they want to risk their health for see how much how far their body can go, I think they should be able to. But that being said, I'm not the one running the enhanced games here. So yeah, I definitely think people should be able to modify their body however they see fit, and that's my thoughts on that issue. I don't know if we're gonna end up with like real life X-Men or anything, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see there. Then we have the 10 Commandments must be displayed in Louisiana classrooms under a requirement signed into law from APnews.com by Donald Key. And, I definitely don't think that's good. You're just going to have the Satanic Temple come out and say, oh, now we have to display the 10 Commandments of Satanism as well. And, it's just going to make Republicans look bad. But, they're always kind of good when it comes to doing that. I personally think if a school wants to display the 10 Commandments, I think they should be able to. But I don't think they should be receiving government funding as a result. That's why I think, if religious schools want to display the 10 Commandments, I think that's fine, but I don't think public schools should be displaying them either. Then we have, I know what happens, Boeing chief, the company has retaliated against whistleblowers from CNN.com by CH Forlock, sorry. I don't know if they're people, and I said, I didn't comment on that one, but I definitely do think that, that's not good, and we need to stand up to corporate authoritarianism like that, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Arizona sending taxpayer money to religious schools and billionaires see it as a model for the U.S. from CNN.com by Donald Key. And my thoughts on that are, I personally don't think we should be sending taxpayer money to any affinity groups at all, be they religious or LGBTQ, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Ultimately, I think if people do want to send their money to a religious or taxpayer school money to a religious school or an LGBTQ organization, I think they should be able to. But I just send the money directly in that case, rather than use the state as a middleman, and that's my thoughts on that issue. And then we have Coming to a Red State Near You from CH for Locks, and that's crosspost from the Fuck the All Right subreddit. And it's a political cartoon, and the woman in the car says, "Relax, I hid the contraceptive pills in the gun." And, it's just kind of another GOP bad post that you see all the time on Reddit. So, I definitely do think, this is just kind of like, the Democrat version of Ben Garrison, the GOP, the Republican political cartoonist, and that's my thoughts there. Then we have Boeing committed the deadliest corporate crime in U.S. history. It should be fined $24 billion, victims' families say, from CNN Business by Ninja Lover, and, I definitely don't like Boeing. I definitely do think we should be standing up against corporate authoritarianism, but I don't know if using the government authoritarianism to do that is the right way of going about it, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have poll. The field is starting to take shape. Who are you going to vote or would vote for poll this November? And I posted that, and I said I voted for Chase Oliver, and the poll currently is 14 votes for Joe Biden of the Democratic Party, 14 votes for Chase Oliver of the Libertarian Party, 2 votes for Jill Stein of the Green Party, 2 votes for Robert Kennedy Jr. of the Independent, who's independent, and then 1 vote for Donald Trump of the Republican Party, 1 vote for other not voting. So, it looks like about tie between Oliver and Biden. If I think a lot of those votes are for Biden aren't as much for Biden as they are against Trump, and that's my thoughts there. I don't even like Trump and voted for Democrat the last 2 times, but by right standards, I'm a Trump supporter since I'm planning on voting for a third-party candidate in a swing state. So that's my thoughts. There. Then we have It's Bittersweet. Attorneys weigh in after Richmond man sentenced to life in prison is proven innocent from WRIC.com by Ninja Lover, and they said after 9 hours of interrogation, he confessed to the crime, later pleaded guilty to all charges to avoid the death penalty. And I guess that's good. It's always nice to see people get exonerated, and that's my thoughts on that issue. And I think we're gonna let's see, wrap it up there, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.